I want you to think back to the last time you pulled an all-nighter. Maybe you had a crazy deadline, or, let's be honest, you just went down a massive 2 a.m. internet rabbit hole, and you know that thick, heavy brain fog the next morning? What if I told you that feeling isn't just fatigue? What if that fog is actual literal garbage physically sitting inside your head?
Yeah, it's a really uncomfortable thought. We usually treat our bodies like smartphones, right? Like the battery just ran out and we just need to plug it in for a bit. But it's not just a lack of energy. You are actually physically building up waste inside your brain tissue.
So it's a literal buildup of trash in your skull.
Yeah.
And if you're obsessed with the why behind human biology and unlocking your actual potential, you are in the right place. Hit subscribe and turn on that bell to join the Insight Lab. We drop deep dives like this every single week to help you outsmart the average. So let's get into the data.
And the data here is staggering because most people think, just resting or drinking some coffee is the answer. It's not. Today, we're breaking down the sleep paradox and why your own waking brain is basically its own worst enemy.
Right, because sleep isn't just turning off the TV. It's this violent, active detox process. But to understand how it cleans, we really need to understand what's making it dirty in the first place. I like to think of your daily brain activity like reading emails, talking, just living as a running car engine.
That is a perfect analogy because every time you run an engine, you create exhaust. And the brain is by far the most metabolically demanding organ in your body. It burns through a massive amount of fuel, and the exhaust from all that mental combustion is made of very specific proteins.
Okay, so we're talking about proteins. Which ones specifically?
The main one is called Beta-Amyloid. And, that name usually scares people because it's so heavily linked to Alzheimer's disease. But beta-amyloid isn't actually evil to begin with. It starts as a precursor protein that your brain absolutely needs for, like cell growth and repair.
Wait, so the trash starts out as something good?
Exactly. It's a functional part of the system. But as your neurons fire all day long, they essentially use up these proteins. They use the good parts, and then they cleave off the leftover fragments and just discard them into the space between your brain cells. And that discarded, useless fragment, that is the beta-amyloid.
Oh, wow. So it's literally just the leftover packaging. Like you eat the candy and throw the wrapper on the floor. And going back to that car analogy, if you drive all day, you're constantly making exhaust. If you stay awake and never park the car, those fumes just build up in the garage.
Right. And in the brain, they don't just float there. They are chemically sticky. So they aggregate. They clump together into these microscopic plaques. And that's when you get that short-term effect you mentioned, that severe brain fog, the slowed reaction times. You are literally making your neurons try to fire electrical signals through a dense physical smog of garbage.
So that completely explains why, when I'm sleep deprived, I can't remember where I put my keys or, I forget a basic word. My neurons are basically wading through waist-deep metabolic sludge.
That's exactly what's happening. And forgetting your keys is just a short-term inconvenience, right? The long-term risks are terrifying. The brain just cannot tolerate this waste permanently. And to make it worse, beta-amyloid isn't even the only thing building up. There's another one called tau protein.
Tau protein, now how does that one work? Is it just more smog floating around between the cells?
It's actually much more insidious. Beta-amyloid builds up outside the cells. Tau protein lives inside your neurons. Normally it acts like the cross ties on a railroad track. It stabilizes these little internal highways that transport nutrients up and down the neuron.
Okay, so tau is keeping the internal supply chains running. That sounds important.
It's vital. But when you don't sleep, when you don't run the cleaning cycle, these tau proteins actually get chemically altered. They detach from those structural highways, and they start clinging to each other instead. They form these dense tangles.
Oh, so the tracks literally fall apart.
Yes. The internal highways collapse. Nutrients can't move. So the tau buildup essentially chokes the neuron from the inside out, which eventually kills the cell entirely.
Choking the neurons from the inside out. That is horrifying. But okay, I have to challenge this a bit.
Yeah.
Because humans are incredibly advanced, right? Our bodies are master classes in efficiency. So why did evolution design a system where we have to fall totally unconscious-like, paralyzed and vulnerable to predators just to take out the trash? Yeah. Why can't we just clean the sludge while we're awake?
That was one of the biggest mysteries in neuroscience for decades. Scientists were asking that exact same question because think about the rest of your body below the neck. You have the lymphatic system. It's this amazing plumbing network that filters toxins from your tissues all day long while you're awake and moving.
Right, the body has 247 plumbing. So why doesn't the brain just hook into that?
Because the brain is locked in a fortress. It's completely separated from the rest of the body by the blood-brain barrier. And it has to be. If you got a normal immune response, like the inflammation from a paper cut inside your skull, the swelling would kill you. So evolution built a massive wall to keep out blood-borne chemicals and pathogens.
It's the ultimate VIP section, so the regular trash collectors physically cannot get past the bouncer.
Exactly. So scientists realized there had to be a hidden, secret plumbing system inside the brain itself. And we only recently discovered it. It's called the glymphatic system.
The lymphatic system. That sounds like a mashup of two different things.
It is. It's a combination of lymphatic, for the waste clearing, and glial. We used to think glial cells were just the structural glue holding the brain together, but there's a specific type called an astrocyte. And these astrocytes have these tiny projections that wrap around the blood vessels in your brain, acting like a network of biological water pumps.
Okay, so the brain does have its own internal pump system, but that still doesn't answer my question. Why can't those little astrocyte pumps just flush the trash out while I'm awake, sitting at my desk typing an email?
Because of sheer physical space. When you are awake, your brain is processing so much information. To do that, your neurons have to be packed incredibly tightly together so the electrical signals can jump instantaneously. The tissue is just too dense. There is physically no room for fluid to wash through and clear out the beta-amyloid.
Oh, I see. So the neurons are basically standing shoulder to shoulder in a crowded subway car. You can't fit a street sweeper in there.
Exactly. So to clean the waste, the brain actually has to change its physical structure. And this is the wild part. It only happens during deep non-REM sleep. When your brain waves slow down, an astonishing neural transformation happens. Your brain cells, the actual neurons and glial cells, shrink. They reduce their physical volume by about 60%.
Wait, 60%? That's a massive structural change. So it's like, imagine a crowded city like Manhattan. During the day, the skyscrapers are packed together, the streets are totally gridlocked. You couldn't drive a massive cleaning truck through there if you tried.
Right, there's no room.
But at night, the skyscrapers themselves physically shrink to less than half their size. Suddenly, those narrow little alleys turn into massive, wide-open boulevards. And that huge reduction in space is what allows the cleaning crew to rush in.
That is the perfect visual. And the cleaning crew in this case is cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF. Once those cells shrink by 60%, the glymphatic system opens the valves, the astrocytes start pumping, and this clear fluid rushes deep into the brain tissue. It literally power washes the cells, grabs all that toxic beta-amyloid, and pushes it toward the veins to get flushed out.
Wow. So for the guy trying to pull the all-nighter, it's not just that he's tired. It is mechanically impossible to clean the brain while it's awake. If you stay up, the skyscrapers never shrink, the fluid can't circulate, the trash just sits there.
You literally cannot have high-level cognition and a deep fluid cleaning at the same time. The tissue can't be dense and porous simultaneously. It's basic physics.
Okay, but we live in the era of biohacking. People love shortcuts, There are all these smart drugs, nootropics, gadgets. Surely there is some cutting-edge hack that triggers this flush while I stay awake. I want that 60% shrink without losing 8 hours of my day.
I know, everyone wants the ultimate biological shortcut, but it is a complete myth. You cannot biohack your way around this. We're talking about macroscopic volume changes in billions of cells. There is no supplement on Earth that can mimic the literal shrinking of your brain tissue. You have to respect the biology. You have to sleep.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so no magic pills.
Yeah.
But even if we commit to getting the hours, it's not just about the duration, right? Because I know I've had weekends where I stay up until 4 a.m., sleep until noon, get my full 8 hours, and I still wake up feeling like absolute garbage.
Yeah, that happens because of the nuance of timing. The glymphatic system is deeply tied to your circadian rhythm. Your biological clock relies on light and dark cycles. Your brain expects to open the plumbing at a very specific time under very specific chemical conditions.
So what's actually happening when someone sleeps from 4 a.m. to noon? Why isn't the power wash working if they're unconscious for 8 hours?
Because you're fighting a chemical uphill battle. In the morning, when the sun comes up, your body releases a spike of cortisol, a stress hormone to wake you up, and your melatonin plummets. So if you're trying to force your brain into deep sleep at 10 a.m., your body is chemically screaming, lock down, and wake up. The astrocyte pumps physically resist opening when cortisol is present.
So it's like sending the street sweepers out during morning rush hour. They're technically on the clock, but they aren't going to get much trash cleared because the traffic is already out.
Exactly. You are fighting your own evolutionary momentum. Consistency with natural darkness is key.
All right, so timing matters. But there was one extremely actionable insight in the data that I found just fascinating. A real science-backed adjustment we can use tonight. And it has to do with our physical posture in bed.
Yes, this is one of the most surprising findings in modern sleep research. Studies show that your glymphatic system clears toxins significantly more efficiently when you sleep in a lateral position, meaning on your side.
On your side. Not flat on your back, not face down, but curled up on your side. How does a simple posture shift clear out Alzheimer's-linked proteins faster? What's the mechanism there?
It literally comes down to basic plumbing and fluid dynamics. Once the cerebrospinal fluid washes through and grabs the garbage, it has to drain out of your skull and into your body's general circulation to be filtered by the liver. The main exit routes are the jugular veins in your neck.
Okay, the jugular veins, so they're the drainage pipes.
Right, and when you sleep on your side, the alignment of your head, neck, and spine optimizes the angle of those pipes. Gravity and anatomy just work together perfectly.
So you're basically just unkinking the hose?
That's exactly it. If you sleep flat on your back or twisted on your stomach, you can slightly compress those veins. The fluid hits resistance. The side position is the path of least resistance. It also helps your autonomic nervous system relax more deeply, which opens the pathways even further. It is a wildly mechanical process.
That is such a great practical takeaway for the Insight Lab protocol. Step 1, respect the biology, no biohacks. Step 2, align your timing with the dark. And step 3, sleep on your side to unkink the hose. This is a total paradigm shift. Your brain isn't just resting, it's executing a high-tech physical detox.
And understanding those mechanics, the tau tangles, the cells shrinking by 60%, it makes sleep a biological non-negotiable.
Exactly. So next time you're sitting there at 2 a.m., debating whether to click next episode or go to bed, visualize what's happening inside your skull. Picture those brain cells refusing to shrink. Picture that beta-amyloid silently clumping together, building the fog you'll have to wade through tomorrow.
Yeah, the mental clarity you want tomorrow depends entirely on the physical waste you clear out tonight.
But you know, if you realize that your lack of sleep is a trap, you're really only halfway there. Because the way you view sleep might be completely warped by modern hustle culture. If you want to complete the puzzle, watch our breakdown on the billionaire sleep myth right here. We dive into why the elites are actually doing the exact opposite of what they preach. I'll see you over there.